We're off and running, everybody. Fabulous. We got a big audience and a big panel to start us off today. Welcome to the webinar. September 6th. I can't believe it. Welcome to the webinar. And I'm Jeff Beglin, your genial host here at Cornerstone. And we're going to talk about HealthSherpa and maximizing your enrollment with HealthSherpa, all the new tips and tricks and all the enhancements and innovations that they have brought to the fore. And we're so glad you could join us on this Wednesday morning. Some housekeeping, and it's important if you've got a question, we want you to put in the question box. What's more, if you're having any difficulty with the sound or the video or something like that, or even better, if you just want to send a quick message on the question box to me to make sure that you're hearing everything okay, I really appreciate that. That makes me feel confident that everybody's getting the message. So maybe shoot a question, something in the question box that you're seeing me, and then we'll just scroll through some of these slides here. You can connect with Cornerstone, and on the call with me today are my cohorts, Brad Petrella and Eric Pouncey. I want to give a quick call out to Brad. He's our business development manager servicing Northern Ohio. And Brad, can you say a few words?
Hey everyone, good morning. Thanks for joining. Really happy that we have such a nice large group this morning. I realized that we never fixed my email address because it's not how you spell my name. It's P-E-T, not P-A-T. Anyway, nonetheless, this is something we need to work on in the back end. So I am responsible for working with brokers to sort of show them the light of ACA. Where they may not have done it before. So that's my main responsibility here, along with the team. So really happy, loving my new role here at Cornerstone. Now I think it's 5 months almost, so it's really good.
Okay, and Eric Pouncey Jr., he's on the call. He figures prominently in this discussion today because here at Cornerstone, he's the person that implements the HealthSherpa for you. So he is our resident expert on HealthSherpa, and in particular, getting the agents set up with their different carriers and stuff like that. So Eric, I'm gonna toss it to you for a second.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, and he does a great job with the technology. As you're well aware, and certainly we're personally aware that today, there's always some little glitchy thing that happens, a screen doesn't pop up or whatever. And we work through those problems. We want to get you back on board, back in sales mode as quick as possible whenever that problem arises. So we're here to help. So, nextly, if you didn't already know, all of Cornerstone's recorded webinars are available on the Resource Center under the webinar series. This is out on our website. And this includes all the webinars, it's a new word, webinars from each series, including the individual corner. And, we've also got Tech Tuesday, we've got branding series, and we've got a group corner as well. So we cover it soup to nuts when it comes to health insurance. And you can call me if you have any questions about the Resource Center. And with Cornerstone's agency services program, you're the pilot of your business, and we're your flight crew. As a Cornerstone broker, you have access to expert services from our agency services program. We call that ASP sometimes. And this helps you with your business outside your scope and planning for the future. We'll create a customized plan for you based on your specific needs to ensure that you, your business, and your family are covered. Contact me or any of the other Cornerstone reps for more information. And it's right there on the website. And through the magic of technology, I'm going to pass things over to our friend Jordan, and she's pinch hitting for Amber today. Jordan hails from beautiful Denver, Colorado. Colorado, as we know, is the Columbine state, right, Jordan?
It is. That is our state flower.
Yes, beautiful columbines are probably in bloom this time of year, right? Or is that?
We've got a little bit more time of wildflowers before the weather starts to turn, but we were up in the mountains over the weekend and it's already
Yeah.
hitting the 30s, so it's cooling off.
I'd love to hear that. It's baking here in the 80s and 90s.
Same in
So,
Denver. Yep.
yeah, I had the pleasure of being out west this summer. It's just beautiful. So let's toss it to you. And again, Jordan's pinch hitting for Amber. We really appreciate you joining us today. And I can see your screen. We're off and running.
Great. Thanks so much. So again, my name is Jordyne Cerullo. I'm our Director of Agency Sales at HealthSherpa. Amber is on my team. I've been here for about 3 years now. I'm headed into my 4th open enrollment. So I've seen HealthSherpa really change over the last couple of years and seen the explosive growth that this market has experienced. So we're super excited to support all of you. Super excited to share how our technology can help you grow your business. And I'll also add that if you have any questions today, please pop those in the chat. If you do work with Amber, please share your feedback with us. We want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. That is how we improve, and it's super valuable to us. So again, thank you so much for your time. And here's what we'll cover today. So we'll quickly start by chatting about who is HealthSherpa and what we do. We'll talk about some account setup steps. We'll go through a live platform overview in our staging environment. This is our test environment. I will add that you are not able to enter fake information on our website, so please don't do that. If you have a question, reach out to us and we're happy to work with you on that. We also have some slides in here for some agent and agency features, HealthSherpa resources at the end, and I'll make sure to spend some time on Q&A at the end. Again, this deck will be shared with you, so you can reference this. One of the things that I like to point out is that I'll call out some links throughout our presentation today. Those are all links off to our FAQ page. I'll show you where to find our FAQ page, and I would encourage all of you to bookmark that page. I go to it probably 20 times a day. It's a really helpful resource for you. So if you're ever stuck, check out the FAQ. There's some great resources in there. So let's get started. So HealthSherpa uses a technology that's called Enhanced Direct Enrollment. And the purpose of this technology is to help you have access to the leading edge technology in order to connect your clients to quality, affordable ACA health plans. You're probably wondering, what the heck did Jordan just say? Well, with your help and over 45,000 brokers using HealthSherpa, we've helped enroll over 15 million consumers since our founding. Last open enrollment, HealthSherpa accounted for 45% of 2023 enrollments, and that's looking across the whole country, so including ACA enrollments for state-based exchanges. And then we also support over 4,800 agency accounts. So it's my understanding that some of you may work in a sub-agency capacity. So if you do have some agents supporting you and you need help setting up an agency account to be under Cornerstone, reach out to us and we're happy to help you set that up. Some other stats that I love to share are the time savings that HealthSherpa can provide to you. So this is a new slide that our team put together this year. We spent some time looking at how long it takes an agent to do an average application on healthcare.gov compared to HealthSherpa. So on average, we see an application on HealthSherpa being about 25 pages, or you could assume 25 clicks, healthcare.gov being 57, so more than double. The average enrollment on healthcare.gov, and this would be for an agent that knows their way around all of the pages on healthcare.gov, takes about 15 minutes compared to 7.5 on HealthSherpa. So when I started at HealthSherpa 3 years ago, we were around the 9.5 minute mark. And each year we work on optimizing our site to make it faster for you. So for us to be able to drop that application time by 2 minutes, that just helps you enroll more clients. We know that time is super important during open enrollment. So making the site faster and easier to use is our top priority. On that same note, the average renewal on HealthSherpa takes about 4 minutes. And I'll share with you when we're in the platform how doing your renewals on HealthSherpa is easier and faster. So in addition to all of these time savings, we give you access to a full CRM. You may be using a CRM with Cornerstone, but you'll have access to all of your client data within HealthSherpa, streamlined quoting, all of your application information will be within HealthSherpa, and that EDE technology that I mentioned allows you to handle all of your follow-ups from within HealthSherpa as well. So let's chat a little bit about account setup. So for anybody that is new, if you do not have an account, sounds like Eric, you're the guru that knows everything about HealthSherpa. You can certainly reach out to us or our support team if you need help creating your account. It's really simple to go to healthsherpa.com and create your account. You'll see that there's a link here that will bring you to the new user page where you will type in your email and your password. Again, if you need any support or you're having any trouble, just reach out to us. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes to create your account. Once you've done that, there are a couple of required steps, and we'll cover those on the next few slides. They are integrating your FFM account, and put simply, this is a two-factor authentication that connects HealthSherpa to your portal.cms.gov account. And then the second step is enabling EDE. So for anyone that is familiar with HealthSherpa, these two have actually changed. It used to be enable EDE first, and then your FFM account. That was new last year. It's now switched the other way around. So you have to do your FFM account and then enable EDEs second. And we did put some instructions in the platform. We launched that yesterday. So if you get stuck, the platform should help you walk through that. I also have Cornerstone's join code in here. So if you are creating an account and you are joining Cornerstone, you'll click the join an agency button and you'll put in this join code. If you forget that, you can do it later and I'll show you where to do that. And again, if you have your own agency or a couple of agents that are supporting you, you'll actually want to create an agency account, and I'll show you where you can put in this join code to join what we call an upstream agency later. And again, if you need more detailed support for the agency tools, just let us know. So first we'll talk about the FFM account integration. So this screenshot here is a screenshot of the settings page. When you create your account, we'll actually prompt you to do this right away, but you'll find that the system is going to tell you once per month that you have to do this. It is a CMS requirement. We're doing everything we can to try to make it as simple and streamlined for you. But essentially, no matter where you click on it, you'll be clicking a button that says integrate my FFM account. The way that this works is it will redirect you to your portal.cms.gov account. You'll type in your password over there. You may be familiar how you have to have multi-factor turned on that website. It'll send you a code. Mine goes to my email address. I pop in that code and then it'll bounce you back to HealthSherpa and you're done. The system will tell you right in here when it expires. And we are working on launching some additional tools that will just notify you when it's coming up so you can remember to do it. One piece that I will point out is because CMS had us implement this last year, the FFM account integration is how you access any data from the federal exchange. So if you log into your account and all of a sudden your client section is blank, it's likely because this is not integrated. So this is a super important step. Again, if you get stuck, you can always call our support team. I'll show you where you can find their information, but this is just one little piece to integrate your account and really keep it secure with CMS. So the next step is enabling EDE, and I've said this a few times. So Enhanced Direct Enrollment is a CMS technology. It came out in 2018. HealthSherpa was the first to implement this technology, and it was really the first in its class that allowed us to support your enrollments and everything that you do to work with your clients on HealthSherpa. It's gone through many phases of evolution to get to where it's at today. And now it's sort of the gold standard in our industry for how you support your clients without utilizing healthcare.gov. So this really just makes your life easier. It allows you to do everything on HealthSherpa. You are required to turn it on. So you'll see this green button up here. You can think of this as an identity verification from CMS. You click on this button, it brings you to a page that's going to ask you some identity verification questions like what street you lived on when you were 5. I have no idea where they get these questions. It always cracks me up, but same thing on this one. If you get stuck, you can call our support team and they can walk you through that. You just have to answer these questions once. So you'll verify your identity and then you'll be good to go. So you might be wondering, how does HealthSherpa make ACA enrollments easier? So this enhanced direct enrollment that I've been talking about allows you to complete your applications directly on our site. We save you time by giving you access to free pre-filled renewals. So what's important to know about this is, let's say that you get a call from somebody that was working with a different agent and they're looking for a new agent and they want to work with you. You can look up a record on the marketplace and we'll pre-fill the entire application for you. So I mentioned we see on average a renewal taking about 4 minutes. That's because you only have to update any section that's changed. So perhaps their income has changed, you update that section, then you can click through and you have the ability to electronically sign on behalf of your client. So we make renewals really, really simple. We tell you that we help improve client effectuation, and I'll show you all of the effectuation tools that you'll have right from within HealthSherpa. Our team's done a really nice job over the last couple of years of giving you tools at the agent and agency level to make sure that you're taking care of required follow-ups, that you can track payment. We're doing some really cool stuff with payment, and we're just going to continue to get better and better and make your life easier for managing your book and keeping those clients that you spend so much time working to support. We also allow you to view real-time status updates. So that's for those documents that you upload. You can see required marketplace documents, 1095A forms. So when those come out, you can access those in HealthSherpa, as well as eligibility letters. So I know I talk really quickly. We're going through a lot of information here. I'll make sure I show you where all of this is within the product as well.
Jordan, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Yeah, so let's say you've imported a block of business. Will that pre-fill your renewals? Let's say you imported a block of business in April. Will those renewals, can you work those just like you can work your incumbent renewals?
You absolutely can. So we do support an import function. So let's say you import 200 clients into HealthSherpa. The one piece that I'll add with imports is that when you import any data into our system, you have to attest that you've received permission to work on behalf of that client. So there is one manual step to that. So you import and then you have to attest consent on each of those clients. It's a little bit different than the new consent requirements from CMS, but essentially all that you would have to do is you would open up that client's profile, click, it's kind of like the enable EDE. You're essentially connecting that record in HealthSherpa to the federal marketplace, and then you have access to that pre-filled renewal. So I can kind of walk you.
I think that's a new development, because that was one of the areas that needed improvement, I guess. That's great.
It's a little manual right after the import, but then if you refresh all of those and get them synced to the marketplace, then you can process all the renewals the same way as everything else.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, if you need any support with that, or if you have anybody that needs to import, let us know and we're happy to jump on a call and walk you through what you need to know.
Great.
It's a little tricky. I'm going to walk through some renewal stuff today, but our staging environment is connected to healthcare.gov, so it mimics whatever the current season is. So right now I'm showing SEP. I would love to have a demo environment where we can show renewals. So hopefully we'll have that at some point in the future. But if anyone has specific renewal questions, please ask them on our call and I'll do my best to walk you through sort of what it looks like.
Fantastic.
So again, just quickly going back to how you enable EDE, again, click this button here. 1 in every 3 agents fails EDE, and it's not because you're answering the questions incorrectly, it's because CMS has some issue on their end with these. So don't be alarmed if it says failed and you need to contact our team. I'll give you a quick tip here. If you do fail it, all that you have to do is email a picture of your driver's license to agent support at HealthSherpa, and then they'll manually override this for you. So would love to see some improvements on this end, but this is a CMS technology and we're doing the best that we can with what we have. So again, if you ever need support, just call our team. All right, so now we're gonna jump over to our staging environment and just making sure you can still see my screen okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So I am logged into, again, our test environment here. This is what your account would look like after you create it. You're going to default to this clients page here. You can customize the logo that's displayed. You're always going to see your name here and your NPN. The only piece that I'll point out, and I will cover this today, is this agency tab. So if you just have a regular agent account and you do not have an agency, you're not going to see an agency tab here, but you'll see everything else which will function the same. So we've got a few links available up at the top. So if you're working with a client, you've got two pathways that you can go through an application. You can start by picking a plan with them by using this quote button here. You'll notice in this dropdown there are a few options. We've got off-exchange medical. We do have a small off-exchange footprint. We do support UH1 dental as well. If you all sell any of that, you have access to that here. But primarily you would use this quote on exchange button. This will allow you very quickly to work with your client to see what plans are available in their zip code. So you can see just based on some really simple household information here, we can see, this isn't cooperating with me today, what sort of eligibility the client would qualify for. We can see here they would be eligible for a cost sharing reduction. It's really simple to add a spouse or a dependent, but again, when we talk about making our application as quick as possible, we're not going to ask you questions that you do not need to answer. So if they don't have a spouse or a dependent, we're not going to make you fill out those sections. And really quickly here, we can see the plan results. So I'll cover all of this in a little bit here, but you could pick out the plan, then start the application, get the final eligibility results and enroll. Or you can go through the full application with your client, get their eligibility results, and then pick their plan. They're both going to get you to the same place. The quoter should give you an almost exact subsidy estimation. It may be, a couple dollars off dependent upon the information that you put in the application. So if your client is really particular about, like, let's say they're looking for a $0 premium, you may want to start with the application so that you know the exact amount of subsidy they'll be eligible for. So the start application and search marketplace links are going to get you to the same place. We aren't going to allow you to start an application until you search the marketplace for an existing record. This does a few things. It prevents creating any duplicates on the marketplace, and it also will give you access to that pre-filled application. So let me show you what that looks like. Used to always use my sister's information because I'm not creative. And then my sister started working at HealthSherpa, so I had to start coming up with new names. So here you can see that we've already used this example before. So HealthSherpa, if we didn't have this person in our clients, would allow us to add this person to our dashboard. The other piece to note is that let's say you have never worked with this person, Chelsea. When renewal season starts, you'll actually have a button here that says 2024. So you could just start the plan year 2024 app from here, and that's where you get that pre-filled application. Now, let's say we change the date of birth here and we don't see any record, we can create a new application. Now, if you do search the marketplace and you find a result, but that's not the person you're working with, you have the option to search by social if you'd like to, or you can always create a new application. A little tip here that I get asked all the time is, hey, I had a plan with mom and son. Son just turned 26 and now wants access to his own coverage, and I can't create an application because it keeps pulling up the mom's plan. A little hack here is just put in the wrong date of birth, start a new application, and then before you finalize the application, fix the date of birth, and that will allow you to split that application off. So we'll just go back to our dashboard here. So that's the start application. I'll walk you through a test app in a minute. The search marketplace link you would use, let's say you've got 5 clients and you just created your HealthSherpa account and you want to pull them in. You do not need to import them. Our import function does require a lot of specific information, and if you don't have those details, it's not going to work. So the other way to do it would be just come in here, type in the client's name. So this page looks exactly like what I just did. Search the marketplace and you can add them to your dashboard. Another feature that we added last year is we're not going to allow you to add somebody numerous times. If they're already in your account, we'll just redirect you back to that client's name. So back on our dashboard here, the client section is where you will find anybody that's been successfully enrolled. So if you're looking for a client, you're coming in here and you're searching and you can't find a client and you're thinking, what's going on? Why can't I find my client? Check out your leads section. The leads section is where you would go for anybody that has not been successfully submitted. So we hear that question all the time. I can't find this client that I enrolled on HealthSherpa. Why are they not visible in my account? They probably just haven't been submitted. So go ahead and check out that section. You've got a bunch of filters that will apply to your full book of business if you'd like to filter your list. The document status in particular is really helpful. So if you want to filter by action needed, you can do that. You also have the ability to use these little toggles in the table down below to see who has action needed the soonest. The payment status, this piece gets a little tricky, and I'm super excited for the work we're going to be doing in the payment space. But the way that payments work on HealthSherpa, and I will show you this after our application, is we support online binder payments. The binder payments are simply a redirect to the carrier's payment portal. So I know that some carriers might make you create an account. It's just not the easiest process. That is the process that exists on CMS today. So you redirect, you make that payment, and then when the carrier reports that payment complete to CMS, that's when we show it completed on HealthSherpa. So it can be confusing for the client because they might receive an email saying pay your binder payment, and they've already done it. Or they might get a letter in the mail saying the same thing from the marketplace or CMS. I always advise that the best practice is to let your client know if they have questions to call you. The payment status is just outdated here, and that's just the way that it works today. So I'll show you some tricks on how you can keep track of who you've made payments for, but just know that if it says unpaid binder payment here, it could be because the carrier has not reported that to CMS. I've heard that it can take 3 days. I've heard that after open enrollment, it might be 3 weeks. So payments get a little tricky. It's great to just have a system in place for keeping track of when you've done those. We also do not allow you to delete any clients from your HealthSherpa account, but let's say you're no longer working with them. Maybe they've aged into Medicare. You can archive them if you don't want to see them in your client table anymore. And if you ever need to access your archive clients, you can use this toggle here. You can also bulk archive clients by selecting their names and clicking archive. If you do happen to be selling other products off exchange, medical or dental, we separate those groups here. You'll also see that I have a feature turned on here called Full Book. So for anybody that is running an agency account, we have some really cool tools that allow you to share clients, if you will, meaning you could just view all clients within your agency. And this is really helpful if you've got a team that is supporting things like document collection or taking binder payments. It allows you to view everything in one list without having numerous agent accounts that all have the same clients. So again, I will show you where you can check out the FAQ on how this feature works, but this one's called Full Book, and that's what that toggle is for. So jumping into some renewal tools, we have this renewal email here. So if I click this button, it's going to select all of my clients. And if I click renewal email, you may not see this in your account because it's not yet renewal season. I do believe that it will be turned on soon if you don't have it. But the way that this works is it will populate an email to send out to any of your clients that are due for renewal. You can customize the subject line, the body of the email. You can opt into including the renew online button. Most agents that I speak with do not want this button in there. I realize that you're time crunched during open enrollment and you want to do everything that you can to renew your clients and focus on new business. But with this growing market, sometimes it makes sense to set up an appointment with your client and make sure that their circumstances haven't changed, or that maybe they're in a bronze plan and a silver plan is better suited for them. So if you don't want your client choosing their plan for the upcoming year, perhaps you just uncheck that and you say, give me a call and let's schedule an appointment. So just know
So
you've got some. Yeah,
I
go
want to
ahead.
bring up something, Jordan. As folks are probably aware, the government, the FFM, is going to start doing some mapping. If clients were in a bronze plan last year and the FFM looks at it and sees that a silver plan is in their best interest, they're supposed to be mapping these clients into silver plans. Will Sherpa reflect that?
So if it passively renews into that silver plan, I don't know. We're still working through figuring out how we support all of you to understand who is being mapped from a bronze to a silver. We've had some discussions about maybe creating some reports that help you see which clients you might want to prioritize reaching out to first. That's why I share that oftentimes it's better to just connect with the client and ensure that you pick the right plan. I know that that mapping will only take place for passive renewals, so meaning you just do not do anything for them. But I will take a note of that and we'll follow up with you. I think we're still trying to figure out the best way to communicate what that mapping looks like. And I don't think we'll have access to that until window shopping opens up.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, but great point.
Hey, Jordan, it's Brad, and there's a really great question back on payments. And the question is, how long do payments tend to show up? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really depends on the carrier. So I think after open enrollment, they get backed up and we see longer delays. I would guess it's going to be at least a couple of days after you take that binder payment. One of the things that we are implementing with one carrier this upcoming open enrollment, and we're really trying to push this with other carriers, is a payment integration. It'll be really cool. So the way that that would work is you can take the binder payment, you can also set up your auto pay, you can track everything live. So let's say your client goes into grace period, we'll show you how many days and what they would have to pay in order to get out of that grace period. And so what we are doing with the carriers is essentially eliminating CMS being that third party that's involved here. So it would give you access to everything real time within our site. So that is going live for at least one carrier for open enrollment, and we're working with some others on looking into that in the future. It is a feature that they would have to pay us for. But the way it sits for everybody else, it's really up to the carrier. So I'll show you all what my piece of advice would be for how to track taking those payments. And then Jeff, I apologize, I don't know this, or maybe Eric, you know this. Do all of the Cornerstone agents have the ability to download reports from HealthSherpa?
I believe they should.
Okay. So this button here, your export, I'm not going to spend too much time on it today, but everybody should become familiar with this export report. We've run some analysis on agents that use the export, and we see on average agents that leverage this report write 10 times more business than other agents.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Agents that leverage the export report in our numbers write 10 times more business than agents that don't. So I'm assuming you all have a CRM system as well.
Oh, yes. I love this tool.
So the export report, I'll be honest, it's got a lot of room for improvement, and we are working on that as well. We're doing some really cool stuff. But the way it works today, you click on this button and you have access to a few reports here. This will be sent as a resource after our presentation. The FAQ is really something that you should spend, of all of our FAQs, the most time on. The FAQ outlines something that we call the export report legend. Our team put together a legend to tell you what all of the columns in this report mean. There's over 150 columns in this report, and it can be a little bit overwhelming because there's so much data in it. But this is how you can effectively track your book of business and manage your book of business. So here's one example. Let's say 10 of your clients passively renew. CMS does not allow us to pre-populate the 2024 plan in our site. You have to manually pull it in. you can download this export report going into renewal season and make sure that every single one of those clients you've either actively renewed, or if they happen to passively renew, you know which one it is. You pull them into your HealthSherpa dashboard and you can follow up with that client, especially if they got crosswalked into that silver plan and you know that a bronze plan is the best fit for them. That's just one example, but this is your book of business report. It allows you to track things like what agent of record or what NPN was submitted on the application. We're doing some really cool work in terms of allowing you to track what we call the policy AOR. So being able to track, has that policy been resubmitted and is now somebody else agent of record? We realize that that is a huge pain point, and being able to track who is agent of record on a policy is extremely important because you want to get paid for the business that you're writing. So you can come in here, you just pop in a date range. We did some work last week to make sure that these reports pop out faster. They used to be kind of slow, and just know that during peak times they do slow down. Monday is the worst day to pull them, but if you pull them on Monday, just know it's going to take some time. You also have this other button here that says include unsubmitted search and claims. So earlier in our presentation, I shared the search marketplace link up top. So that's what allows you to add somebody to your dashboard. If you add somebody to your dashboard, it does not submit that application to the marketplace. It just gives you access to view that application. So if you include these unsubmitted search and claimed applications, the submitted date on your export will be blank. And I realize I'm getting into the weeds here. The legend explains all of this. But you might be wondering, why am I not getting paid on an application? This client I worked with, maybe you didn't submit them on HealthSherpa. So I always recommend clicking that button there. You click export and you'll be emailed a link to download this report. So the reason I bring up this report is the question about payments. You can take a note in HealthSherpa after the application saying payment made September 6th. And when you download this report, you might see that the status still says that the premium has to be paid, but then you can see your note that says I took the premium payment on September 6th. So it's just waiting for CMS to update. So that's a helpful little tip that I like to share. The other report that's in here is a DMI follow-up export. So if anybody's not familiar with what a DMI is, that's a data matching issue. We often see these if you do not have the social on an application, or for whatever reason, if the information is not matching what is available in the federal databases, you're going to be required to provide additional documentation. So if you do not resolve a DMI, the client will lose their subsidy, and they will likely not pay an $800+ premium for a plan that they expected to be free. So it's really important to resolve these DMIs. This report will tell you when they're due, the type. Again, if you're running an agency, this is really helpful because you can see which agents have which DMIs and when they're due. So you can make sure that those are resolved. But this is also a really helpful learning tool because you can see if a particular agent is always generating the same type of DMI, and perhaps it's a way that they're filling out the application. So definitely get familiar with the HealthSherpa reports. Again, check out the FAQ, it'll go through everything I just went through. So that's my tip with the payments. And then Jeff, you had asked about imports earlier. So if you do need to import into HealthSherpa, you click this button, you'll download our template. You do have to fill out the required headers, and then you'll upload that on here. And then the way that the import works is after you've imported all your clients, they'll be listed down here in what we call the client table. You actually won't see any of this live data. So that's kind of how you know that they've been imported. These sections here are just going to be little blank boxes. So the way that you connect them to the marketplace is you'll click into the client, and this page is really, really slow to load on staging. So I'm hoping it'll cooperate for me today. But when this page loads, you'll actually have a big yellow bar up here that says you need to enable EDE for this client. You're going to have to click that for everyone that you import, and then the page is going to look like this, and it'll give you access to all of their information from the marketplace.
So at what point is it going to deal with the consent?
So you'll click enable EDE up here in that yellow box.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to see a pop-up that's, I don't have an example in here, but the pop-up looks just like this. It's this text
Okay.
here,
Okay.
and that's it.
Will the client need to fill out the new scope of appointment?
So this consent is a little bit different than the new consent from CMS.
Yeah.
So this one is just you saying, I've received permission to work on their behalf. I would guess that at some point this box may go away with the new consent rules because you're having to do it later.
Yeah.
But for
Okay.
now, if you do the import, that's what you should expect to see.
Okay. Okay.
So again, down here on the client table, you're going to see all of your client information. If you've got a large book, you can search by name. You can change the view to as many clients as you want down here, up to 50. The plan they've enrolled in, gross and net premium. So net being after their subsidy, effective date, when they were created within HealthSherpa. Document status. Document status does pull real time from the marketplace, so you can't expect this to be at that present moment. Again, just expect binder payments to be delayed. You can click this little refresh icon, and this will do an API call off to the marketplace to refresh that status. The other way that we refresh is anytime that you open up a client's name, and I'm laughing at what my team is putting into a test environment today. If you open up a client detail page, we're going to pull fresh information from the marketplace for you. And again, this drop down here is where you can do different actions. So if you need to report changes, you'll notice that you can click report changes here or within that client detail page. Access is just going to bring you right in like you clicked on their name. You can change the plan if you're within the window. We talked about archive. You can email them from HealthSherpa. I will note that if you email them, I believe this just opens up your email. Actually, let's click on that. I haven't done that before. Yeah, it just opened up my email.
We get a question sometimes about when can a client or when can a broker change a plan? What is the window you're referring to?
I believe I'll have to take that as a follow-up. I believe there's 30 days after the enrollment to change the plan.
Okay.
I'm going to point out just our FAQ again, and it is linked in my.
Okay, I didn't mean to tee you up for that, but I get that question.
No. We've got an excellent SEP FAQ that talks about all the different windows of effective dates, and I think plan is in there. I'll make sure that we get that to you though.
Okay.
The last piece with this drop down here is when we are in the renewal season, you'll actually have the ability to click renew right from here, and we'll bring you right into that renewal flow.
Yeah, and Jordan, somebody's asking a great question, and it's from Bernadine. And so she's asking about listing them alphabetically. And if you look on the screen, Bernadine, you'll see where it says client, and just what Jordan's showing you, that will sort them alphabetically, just like she's done. It's hard to see on the screen because it's kind of gray, but that up down will, there you go. Thank you, Jordan. You're really expert.
Hopefully I can zoom back out.
That's good.
It's still early here in Colorado.
Right.
I'm still having coffee. Yeah, great question.
Yeah, Bobby Boucher was funny though.
You know, Amber likes to put in, she comes up with great names like Wonder Woman, and I'm just not creative like that. So you'll see my dog and my sisters and
Yeah.
All right, so moving on here, we're going to breeze through these next couple sections. So the leads section is, again, anybody that has not been successfully enrolled. So there's two ways that somebody can end up in the leads. Either you're working with them and you click save lead. So let's say they say, I have to call you back, click save, and they'll end up here. And then you can just pick up wherever you left off. Or the other way is HealthSherpa has what we call a marketing link. We'll get there in just a moment, but that's a direct-to-consumer enrollment link that you can share in your social media, let's say LinkedIn, Facebook, your email signature. And if anybody clicks on that link and they start shopping around, we'll save them as a lead in your account. All of these filters operate the exact same. You can import leads. So let's say you've got a list of 100 clients that you want to work with going into open enrollment. Really cool trick here. You can import them. We only support importing about 5 different fields, so it is a basic import. But my little tip here is leading up to open enrollment, you can actually start shopping with your clients. So HealthSherpa opens up what we call window shopping. And this is when we expose the plan year 24 actual rates on our site. So it's typically a week to 10 days before open enrollment. Again, this is entirely dependent on CMS releasing those numbers. But when those files are publicly released, we are able to open up window shopping. You can actually start picking plans with your clients and you can save them as a lead and you can get literally everything done in the application with the exception of submitting the app. So you can come in here and then November 1st, click resume and just breeze through these and submit them. So that's a really nice way to get yourself an extra week during open enrollment. The export is also a great tool in here. So if you are using this marketing link and you're driving any traffic to that link, you can come in here and click export. This report will give you a link to where the client left off. So let's say, this example here, I've got 69 leads. I can export these out and then I could run an email campaign containing that link saying, hey, pick up where you left off. And if they submit that enrollment, my NPN will be attached to it. So again, some great tools to just help you save time. Next section is the insights. This is some pretty basic information. So I like to share if you're ever looking for data from HealthSherpa that's not in the platform, reach out to Amber and let us know. We'll be working on providing some better reporting in the future. But the way this works today is it's very simple. The number of leads and submitted applications that you have, average plan premium and total annual premium. I know a lot of agents like to come in here and they'll run week over week to see how they're doing during open enrollment. The bonuses section. Jeff, is it okay for me to cover this section here?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, great. So HealthSherpa runs a couple of optional bonus programs. Spend some time in here, get familiar with these. We've got a referral program where you can refer any carriers that you are not contracted with over to HealthSherpa, and you get paid a one-time bonus for those. You can read more information about this program here. Put simply, it's typically $50 during SEP per referred application. During open enrollment last year, it was $125 per carrier. There are a number of carriers that we do not get paid for, so we do not pay as much on those policies. If you refer an application, you're still writing the app, you're still managing the client, you can sell them whatever other products you sell. They'll still be listed in your client section. If you get appointed with that carrier, you can absolutely renew them or rewrite them direct with the carrier for those commissions. We treat these clients as your clients. It is a way for you to support your client with whatever the best plan is for their needs. The way that you track referrals is listed on this page, so you can see who you've referred, the status of the payment, and the amount. This is the only time you would get paid from HealthSherpa is through these optional bonus programs. This is why we're requesting a W-9 in here. Has nothing to do with commissions. We do also support a Medicare referral program. Again, connect with Jeff and the team at Cornerstone. If you all are writing Medicare, this may not be a fit for you. So I'm not going to cover that, but if you are interested, you can check that out in here. What I will cover is the broker bonuses. This is totally different than our referral programs. This is literally a way for you to make more money by using HealthSherpa. So we launched these with certain carriers during open enrollment. You can think of it as almost like carrier marketing co-op during open enrollment. So the carrier name will be listed in here, the amount of the bonus in the states that it's live in. So this means if you write that carrier in one of the states where it's live, you get paid an additional bonus for writing that plan. So literally just a way for you to make additional money. We've run these for, I think this will be our third year now. And we saw the average agent was able to make about $1,000 more by opting into these programs. So definitely get familiar with these. The Associates is just a word of mouth referral program. So if you know anybody that's not using HealthSherpa and you're happy with us, please let them know. And you can send them your link through here to invite them. You won't have visibility into each other's accounts, but if they do sign up, we'll pay you $10 if they participate in our referral program. All right, the marketing link. So I mentioned this before. This is the direct-to-consumer enrollment link. this is the exact same information that we collect during the quoter. So we make this really simple for a consumer to see what plans would be available in their area. Again, you can customize the logo, the photo that's displayed, the color palette, the phone number that's displayed. So let me go back in here. So this is where you customize this. I hear all the time, why are people calling my cell phone? I want them to call my office phone. It's because it's this number here. So make sure that's your office line if that's how you want it set up. You can also put in a Google Analytics code. So if you are more tech savvy than I am, you can create a free Google Analytics account, pop that code in here, and Google Analytics will track how many people are clicking on your link. So again, this is a really cool tool if you want to put this in your email signature. Show you what it looks like here. Really simple to see what sort of plans are available. So again, just really, really user-friendly here. They can see any doctors or pharmacies in network, prescription drugs. For anyone that is familiar with HealthSherpa and it knows that you've asked us to save providers and prescriptions, we're working on that. So that's really cool. But your average consumer is going to get to this page and be like, whoa, there's 137 plans. I have no idea where to start. So this is where they're likely to call you or potentially drop off the enrollment experience and fall back in your leads.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah.
Those wizards are great, and I want to call out the features that you have there. One area that we kind of run into trouble is the doc find tool, and it's no fault of Sherpas, or it's really no fault of the FFM. It just so happens that sometimes the provider's information doesn't get updated to the federal database. So
Yes.
always consult, the carrier's provider list, because that is the final, that's the final arbiter, is what the carrier is showing on their portal, as
Yes.
opposed to what Sherpa and the FFM is showing.
That's a great
been
point.
huge bone of contention the last couple of years.
Yeah, I hear that feedback all the time. So know that this is an option that you can look at providers. I always recommend when you are selecting a plan with a client, click on the plan details. You'll see we have numerous links within the product. If you click plan details, we're also only going to display the high level information that the carrier gives to CMS, and sometimes it's wrong. So you can come in here and you can pull out the drug formulary, the provider list, summary of benefits as well. But if you're working with a client that needs to make sure that they've got an oncologist or a cardiologist in network, it's always worth giving that carrier a quick call to double check. So that is the marketing link. I'll do the agency tab last here. Quickly going through the settings here. You can update your email address if you need to here. If you need to reset your password, you can contact our support team. I mentioned I'd point out where to contact them. That's listed in this question mark bubble up top. Email turnaround during business hours is typically 1 to 2 hours. Phone call is always your fastest way, in my opinion, to get in touch with our team. Our average hold time during open enrollment is less than a minute. Please, please, please call our team first before you ever call the marketplace and save yourself hours of time. Most often our team can help resolve whatever issue you're running into. And of course, you can chat with them as well. Two-factor authentication is not required, but again, if you'd like to turn this on, you can do so. This is that FFM account integration that we talked about. So we can see I've got until October 5th to do that. This will always be your account information here. So right now I have an agency account. So if anybody has an agency, this is where you would go to fill out your information. There's some agency specific features in here. Please read through those. Again, if you've got a couple folks helping support document collection or whatever, you've got the ability to prevent downloading reports, and you can control some of their settings as well. With my agency, I would have my join code. So I mentioned the Cornerstone join code. If you have a regular agent account and you need to join Cornerstone, you'll have a section here that says join an agency. That's where you put in that code that I provided earlier. You would click join and it will link your account to Cornerstone. If you have an agency and you'd like to become a sub-agency of Cornerstone, you would put that code in here. It's 4 digits and you click update. All this does is it allows them to view your account. You don't have access to view up and you won't have access to view other agency accounts. So some agencies like setting up the hierarchy that way. If they're supporting you with any sort of back office work, it can be really helpful from a reporting standpoint. And then you have some optional client email controls down below. The last piece that I'll cover in settings is when you create your account, we ask you to put in all of the states that you're licensed and the carriers that you're appointed with. I find it easier to manage that here. We do require you to keep this up to date. So we run a NIPR check on the states that you're licensed in, and we will log that in our system. So our system knows what states you're licensed in and when those expire, but we do not check appointments. The reason we have not done that historically is we've found some of that reporting that's available not accurate. So we require you to keep this up to date. So again, just going back to that export report that I talked about earlier, if you ever pull that report and see that you accidentally referred something or that your applications or your agent's applications aren't being processed the right way, I would encourage you to come in here and check this out. At the agency level, you also have the ability to pull a report to see all of your agent settings and make sure that they're set up correctly. But again, really simple to come in here, click carriers, and then you just add any states that you're licensed. And then you would select the carriers that you're appointed with. If you do opt into the referral program, you'll want to select which carriers you refer. So make sure you keep this up to date. Definitely double check this before open enrollment. And then just a quick time check here, Jeff. I know I've been going into a lot of detail for all of this. Do we have a hard stop?
Well, we love it. The information is so important and fantastic, learning something new all the time, but we need to kind of wrap things up and get into the questions if we can.
Yeah, of course. I won't cover the agencies section here. I'm going to switch back into our deck. If anybody is looking for another session, please let us know and we're happy to host this for you. Back in my slide deck here, just quickly, again, you can check out all of these links here. These are all the FAQs for everything that we've covered today. So again, we've got agency features, agent features, active consent. We walk you through all of the new consent features that we've just launched. So the ability to upload your consent and track that from within HealthSherpa. And then you'll find at the end of our slides here, everything that we've covered today and how to contact agent support.
Okay, great. Let's jump into some questions. Brad or Eric, were you fielding some of those questions earlier? I noticed.
I was. So one of the questions, and Jeff, we will show the Cornerstone Resource Center here in a minute, but let's get the ones that I haven't answered. And Beverly, if you look on the screen now, you'll see the 888 number that Jordan just shows. So write that down, 1-888-684-1373. That's the best way to get a hold of HealthSherpa. Obviously, there's an email and there's even a chat feature as well. Jordan, how well does that chat feature work? Is somebody does it get answered pretty quickly?
It does. So we do scale up our support team during open enrollment, and we also have a fun company-wide initiative that every employee at the company has to help support during open enrollment. So you should expect to get a response pretty quickly. I personally find that it can be a little difficult to explain an issue over text. So I always say just call.
Okay.
But if you have a quick question, you can absolutely chat from the dashboard. And again, let me just show you where to find that. When you're logged in, question mark icon, email, phone number, and chat here.
Nice. Perfect. And the other question is, does HealthSherpa have any feature to help about the eligibility results in attestation form? Yeah, I'm trying to interpret that. Jeff, can you interpret that?
I think I understand. So eligibility, absolutely, the system will automatically detect that for you. When you're going through the application, we will let you know what they are eligible for. We'll let you know based on income immediately if they're not going to be eligible for a subsidy, or perhaps they would be eligible for Medicaid or CHIP. The system will tell you that. The system will also tell you if, based on their circumstances, maybe their life event did not qualify them to enroll at that time. And then when it comes to attestations, all of these slides here for consent, we do allow you now to upload your consent in HealthSherpa. If you do not have your own consent form, we've created one that you can access within the platform. We store all of this for 10 years for you as well.
Oh, wow,
Okay,
that's a
so
nice feature.
and can I jump in here real quick? To my knowledge, when you're doing an over-the-phone enrollment, Sherpa is not prompting you to do the consent. You're supposed to know to do it. Am I correct?
My assumption is your agents have, some sort of script that they follow.
Right, right.
And if they aren't following a script, this page that I'm showing here is new.
Mhm.
And this is going to show, okay, these two examples, Jane and Fernando, are eligible to enroll. That's what this green check mark shows. And now the system tells them you are required to collect this consent. And so they have the
Okay.
option now to upload or say, I already have this in my own record. So let's say they're recording on their own. They can say, I have this, and they can come back and upload it if they want, or if they're storing it separately, they don't need to do that. And
I
then
see. Okay.
when they're in HealthSherpa, there's a new field now that allows them to upload it here and track the files. So if they do want to keep those in HealthSherpa, it's all on that client detail page.
Great.
How do we get the consent form?
We already
So
was provided a sample consent form. The consent form is something agents create on their own, and sample documents were provided by the feds. The model consent form that they sent out to everybody. We sent something like that too. So they're encouraging you to really use your own language, for very good reason, to make it authentic. So you can talk to us about how that process works. But you can even do text, and that's the one thing. The feds encourage you to use text. They also encourage you to use verbal consent. And I'm not sure, Jordan, is there a way to upload a verbal consent recording in there or something, or not?
You can, yep. So
Okay.
that's available here where you click upload, and we support all of these different
Okay.
files here. And if
So,
you're running into any issues, like the size is too big, please let us
yeah.
know. This is a brand new feature, so we want your feedback.
Okay.
so there's a great question from Valerie. It says, what is the easiest way to report changes in income? It seems that when you do that, you have to go through all of the prompts again and then give a different date of loss of coverage. Do we have to keep uploading the consent when we change the form? Sorry, my voice is giving out a little bit with my
No
cold.
problem. I do believe that you'll have to just click through the consent attestation. And you are correct that you do have to click through the application. My advice would be, if I can get this page to load here, you'll edit the application right in the income section. So we would click report changes here or here. And then we're going to go right into the income section. And then we would just edit this amount here. So let's say they made an extra 1,000. You click save, and then you do have to page through the additional sections. So again, this should all be pre-filled with the information that you had. Yes. And then this will bring you to the end. I actually saw a screen recently that sometimes when you're reporting changes, that income is not one of them, where there is no actual change in eligibility or the subsidy eligibility. it'll submit it to the marketplace, but it's not going to require any additional steps. So because income may change their eligibility, you will still have to answer these questions. Did that answer that question for you?
It seems like it did. We have a couple more, and everybody's staying on. This is really great. So Jordan, you're doing a great job of giving everybody sort of a live stage. So does the consent form need to be renewed or signed annually? Is it good until it's withdrawn? So there's a couple ways to deal with that. You could put a specific date. I've seen an agent who modified the CMS consent form to say that that you're giving consent until you tell me that I no longer have consent. So there's a lot of ways to handle it. I know it would be easier if they just did it like a scope of appointment for Medicare. That scope only lasts, as you, some of you that are working in Medicare, for that period of time until they're your client. So it's different. So that wasn't really for you, Jordan. I could answer that. There is an available, everybody's really concerned about the consent form. There is a consent form on Sherpa. And I also cannot see where to upload that file. Jordan, you want to go back to uploading that file? There is not a consent form on Sherpa that I just saw Jordan show, but it's uploading one that you create from your files to upload it onto Sherpa.
Yes, so if ours is not yet live, we have been working on one. And what's been tricky is that CMS released guidance, but they're not officially approving anybody's. And so you can upload your own, you can track them. Are you still able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so you can track your own files from within this client detail page. If consent has been, actually, it would be easier to do it from here. So this is where you do the upload. It's at the eligibility summary. So it's at the end of the application. Here's where you would upload. And then after you've uploaded, let's see if I can make this bigger. Here's where you'll see your consent record. So this is a new section on the product. So it'll tell you, okay, this was an agent upload and I did it on January 3rd. It was collected for the plan year. Here's where you can download the files. So I'm sure we'll have some features in the future where if you wanted to download these in bulk, you can have that. Let's say the consumer revokes consent from you, because that was part of the new regulation, was that a consumer has to be given the option to remove consent. The platform will tell you if that has happened. So let's say they've revoked consent, you would see that in the platform, and then you could contact the client and find out what's going on. And then when our form is available, it's going to exist here at this eligibility summary page.
Great. Jeff, can you take over on questions? My voice is starting to give out.
Oh, yeah, we're just kind of wrapping up. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we left with Lenny
okay.
at 10:37.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And the interaction is great.
Okay, it is good stuff. 10:37. Okay. I have a meeting this morning where we need to update an application. I need to add the wife because she was denied Medicaid. Your children are eligible for Medicaid. Will it be pretty intuitive when I go into the update?
Yes, it will. And I don't have that example within the platform. But what you will do is you will select that the wife has been denied Medicaid. So there is a box that you'll check for that. And then for the children, you will click not applying or eligible for Medicaid or CHIP. And that is a perfect example of, if you get stuck, calling our support team and they will walk you through exactly what to click for every single applicant on the plan.
Nice.
Great, and I appreciate everybody hanging out with us because we're going to keep going, if that's okay. In Melanie's comment, there's a form available on HealthSherpa when you go through the application process. So I think she's referring to the consent form. If I'm not mistaken, if you are coming, like the client is just doing an application off the Pearl, Sherpa actually has created a consent form baked into the whole application process.
That is correct. So if your client is going through, or prospective client is going through the marketing link, I have a slide on that. It's built into this language now. We've changed this to make sure that we capture everything for you.
Right, but if you're doing an over-the-phone enrollment on Sherpa, you should use your own consent form, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Is there a way to give a specific date when removing a client that is coming off the plan due to going over to Medicare?
Yeah, Medicare is tricky, and that's something that we are working on improving. I've had that question come up quite a bit. And if I recall correctly, and I will make sure to include this in follow-up for all of you, I think Amber actually put together a video recently on how to do this. So unfortunately, it has to be done on the last day before the client goes into Medicare coverage. So the way that you do it is you have to report a change, and you will mark whoever the applicant is that's going into Medicare as not applying on that last day. And what it will do is it will remove that client from that plan for the following. So a little bit tricky. I'd love to have some better reporting on that. We are actively working on that, but it has to be the day before their coverage ends. So if you wait until the 1st, they're going to have their coverage would not be canceled that day. So you want to do it that very last day. So make sure you're creating reminders or whatever you need to in your calendar to update that particular client.
Okay. One of the last questions here, does the consent allow us to call healthcare.gov on the client's behalf?
That is an awesome question. I've always heard that the client has to be on the line. If you need to call, it has to be a 3-way call. Our team has to do the same thing.
Yeah, and although healthcare.gov, just with an agent's, for an agent's purpose, they are helpful. They'll give you some guidance on, on different scenarios and stuff like that. So don't hesitate from calling them, maybe asking for a second line supervisor, because they are very helpful. And I had a personal question. Does HealthSherpa support agents who are writing under another NPN? So maybe you've got a big agency, you've got several people working under, a director, or maybe like a lead producer. Can they write under that producer's NPN?
Yes, absolutely. So the only requirement is that you are required to be licensed and FFM certified in order to use HealthSherpa. I'll make a little note here that you can get your FFM certification through HealthSherpa. It's still done through the CMS portal, and get free CE credits. So knock those out of the way. Don't be like me and have to do all 24 on one day every single year. But if you're looking to write under a principal NPN, that feature is called override NPN. That's one of our agency features. So as long as your agents are licensed and certified, the way this feature works is, let's say that we wanted everybody to write under Meredith's NPN. Only Meredith would have to be checked here. And you have, as the agency admin, the ability in your settings to control whether or not your agents use their own NPN. So we see this quite commonly in call centers, where they do not allow their agents to use their own NPN. So they turn on the NPN override, they change this setting here to no. And then when their agents are doing the application, so again, in that example, only Meredith would need to be checked, not everybody else. So if you have 2 people checked, that means those 2 NPNs would appear. But in this example where we said, no, we don't want to allow our agents to use their own NPN, Meredith's NPN is the only one that's going to display. And from this agency page here, I'll just make another note that you have access to that client export that I talked about. And this is a great tool, especially if you're using any NPN override or other features, to just make sure that your agents are submitting their business with the right NPN on them.
Fantastic. Okay. I think I've got one more question. And as she mentioned earlier, you work on the Federal Facilitated Marketplace platform, the FFM platform. I think it's 35 states. Are there any state-based marketplaces that you work with?
Great question. We do have a integration or a double redirect set up with Kentucky. So I believe that's Connect for Health or Connect. It is on our roadmap to be integrating with the state exchanges in the future. It's something that we are actively working on. Right now, Kentucky is the only one. If Georgia had moved to a state-based exchange for this year, we would have an integration with them. So just know it is something we're working with. The states that were already state-based exchanges, not the most recent ones, are going to be a little bit more of an uphill battle, but it is our hope to have as many of those integrations as possible. So we are working on that. I will point out that for anyone that's new, there is a great resource from Kaiser Family Foundation that I'll send as follow-up, that they release this every single year, and it's a great guide to tell you which states are FFM versus state-based exchange. There are some state-based exchanges that operate on the federal platform, and you can use HealthSherpa for those. So I'll send this out to everybody.
Now, in terms of Kentucky, though, you said double redirect. So they will essentially have to work in the Connect environment.
Yep. So you'll start on HealthSherpa. When you pick the plan, it redirects you to Connect, and then it'll come back. If you do write any applications in Kentucky on that double redirect, our team is looking for feedback on that. So if you happen to
you'll get plenty.
Okay. I've heard that it's lucky. So you know, if you have any feedback, please share that with us. We'd love to have it.
Yeah, we're hoping that maybe at some point, you know, they'll hand the keys off to you. But
So are we.
yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. I know they're working really hard on getting that straightened out down there. But we really enjoy you joining us today. And with any final thoughts from the team, Brad, Eric, anything?
Yeah, just Jordan, thank you. Awesome. Since I'm newer, this is all, I'm getting a heck of an education. I hope I remember it all. But there was a question from Lenny earlier on, and it's more for us, Jeff and Eric, and it's about the resource center link being off. So I think, Lenny, the easiest thing to do is just go to log into your Cornerstone website account and click on the tab that says Resource Center. And then once you do that, it'll ask you which section you want to go to, and it will be individual, group, etc. So this is where all of these training resources will be available to you and everyone. So hopefully that answered it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. I really appreciate everybody hanging around to the end here. And Jordan, do you have any final thoughts?
No, thank you. I really appreciate the engagement. And again, our team is here to support you. So if you need anything else, please let us know. We're happy to host these anytime.
Fantastic. All right, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Jordan. Awesome.
Thanks.
So
we need to make a correction, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it off, everybody. We're still live. So I gotta turn this thing off.